Approximately 1/3 of adults describe their relationship with siblings as rivalrous or distant. However, rivalry often lessens over time, and at least 80% of siblings over the age of 60 enjoy close ties. Hello and welcome back. In this video, I want to go over how to manage when your children have a conflict or how to manage their rivalry. I'm sure it's not easy to manage it. I have two sets, one set of teen and then one set of toddlers. I would rather manage a conflict between teens than between toddlers, because with teens you can already reason and explain, and they're like mini adults. So number one thing is open communication. I am always very open with my children when it comes to our relationship, and that gives them a great example of how they should be in their relationship and the way we handle conflict. I always apologize. I always teach them there's nothing wrong with apologizing. Even if I'm the parent, I need to be working on the relationship as much as them. This is on a different note, but open communication and everything starts at home. They will learn how to go through a conflict with their siblings by going through a conflict with you. Set clear expectations and rules. It's extremely important. I have a very strong rule, and I'm setting my grounds when it comes to that, about swearing and actually being mean to the other person, especially if they are the opposite sex. I find that my girl, she's a bit more emotional and she can take things much closer to her heart, as opposed to my boy, who's a bit more cold and distant, a true man. Just joking. Generally, they handle, and their perception of a problem and of a conflict is different. So I always teach them to, even if they're going through an argument, be respectful, don't cross boundaries, know your place, know how to be talking to the other person without hurting. You can come across as very opinionated, which is fine, but just try not to hurt. Be fair and just. Always listen both sides of the story, and I teach my teens that there is never black and white, there's always a gray area. Your sister is right to some degree, your brother is right to some degree, and you should always look at each other's differences and how you see a created situation. Even when it comes to rivalry, the same thing. Whatever my daughter perceives as rivalry for my son, it's like a joke. So I always tell them, be a bit more intuitive, because you are sharing a household, and be intuitive, be more a bit sensitive and respectful to the other person. A little bit of rivalry never hurt anyone. That's going to teach them to be competitive to some degree, and it's a great skill to have when it comes to facing life for them. I want them to know that there's a healthy competition, and it all starts at home. It all starts with the rivalry with their siblings. Teach them conflict resolution. Not each and one of them want to go through a conflict the same way. Some of us need a time off, maybe 24 hours, maybe, who knows, a day or two to cool off, to kind of look at the problem from a different perspective. Some of us need an explanation right away. So always make sure you know that. And I'm hoping if they are living in the same household, that they know that some people need some time off, and you need to back off, and you need to take a step back and let them process, and maybe later on approach them and try to find a resolution. Quality time. Make sure you spend quality time with them separately. Don't force each other's company on them. Think that if you're gonna bring them in the same situation, take them for lunch together, they will work it out. It's not necessarily the truth. It's just gonna make it, the whole thing, much more uncomfortable. I usually just let them be, and I spend time with each and one of them separately. And I always praise each other. So I always tell my son, oh, you know what, your sister feels really bad, maybe you should reach out and talk to her. Same thing, I tell my daughter, oh, your brother kind of looked at the problem from a different point of view, and he really would like to talk to you. They don't always know that I am the whisperer, that I'm the mediator behind the scenes, but that pushes them to reach out to each other that much faster. Avoid comparison. Don't tell them, oh, I wouldn't be doing it this way, or your sister maybe overreacted. Just avoid any kind of comparison and tell them that, you know what, you guys are different, and it's normal for certain conflicts to arise. It's normal for you guys to bump heads here and there. Even grown-ups do it on a regular basis, and you are teens, you are going through a lot of changes, so maybe please be a bit more understanding to your sister's situation. And the same thing I tell to my daughter, be a bit more understanding. He feels a little bit maybe more pressure because he's growing and learning how to be a man, and especially me being a single parent, this coming from a single parent perspective, he feels like he needs to stand up and man up and be a bit more firm. Maybe that's why he came across a bit rude. So always try to make them see the situation from each and one point of view. Be a mediator, don't be a judge. Just like I was saying earlier, you need to be the mediator. Judging is so easy nowadays. Everyone has an opinion, and it's so much easier for you to kind of take a step back and not to get involved. But as a parent, you need to be involved, and you need to know of any major conflict when it comes to your teens. I'm always one of those noisy parents. I always ask, what's the problem? Can we talk about it? Please tell me. I bug them until I hear the story from each and one of them separately, and then I can make my judgment. Maybe I think that my daughter was right and I think that my son was wrong. I am never going to tell them about it. I will tell them that they should really reconsider their position. You should really look at it from a different perspective. There's never right or wrong situation, just like there's always a gray area. This is going to give them a model of how to go through any kind of conflict further down the line. Whatever you teach them at home, they're going to be using it further down the line. Even if you think that it doesn't quite matter, they're going to have their own ways of dealing with conflict. Everything starts at home, and the way they are dealing with everything at home, this is how they're going to be dealing with everything in life further down the line, if it's a healthy household. And any kind of relationship they're going to face, and any kind of conflict they're going to face growing up, they're going to know how to do it because you taught them to. I'm looking now at me and my sister, and unfortunately the statistics are right. We are going to get closer to our siblings as we get older, and I see that when it comes to me and my sister, we got much closer as we got older, and I want my children to avoid that, and I want them to be close and to be in each other's lives early on, not when they're much older and when they are kind of more aware of their faults and their downfalls. But starting early, I want them to know that there's one person on the other side of the world even that cares for them, that loves them, that knows them, that grew up with them. And besides us parents, they are as close to a family that they will ever have, and they should really do their best to maintain that relationship as healthy as possible. Please do comment, how are you going through any kind of conflict when it comes to your siblings or when it comes to your children? There's always things to learn, and I hope you're gonna leave me any kind of comment and we can open up a conversation about that. Other than that, I will see you in my next video.